My name is Victor Lennard. I'm 97 years old, and this is Anna, she's 96. We haven't played together in 79 years. Tonight, you are not just hearing music, you are hearing silence, broken. You are hearing time trying to heal. We met in 1944, a small music school in southern France. I played the violin, she played the piano. We were just kids with aching hearts and too many dreams. She had a laugh that made you forget the war. I had a melody in my head I could never finish until I heard her play. And somehow, just like that, the notes made sense. We wrote a piece together. It wasn't grand, it wasn't complicated. It was gentle, like a whisper from someone you love in the dark. We called it Unspoken because we never said how we felt. We were too young, too scared. And then one night she disappeared. There was no goodbye, no letter, no trace, just empty space where she used to sit. I was told her family fled the country. I searched. God knows I searched for years. But she was gone. I joined the resistance, survived the war, but I never finished the piece. I couldn't, because the other half of it was missing. Decades passed. I married, lost my wife, buried friends, outlived enemies. But Anna, she lived only in the music we never played. Then 3 months ago, my nurse brought me a letter from a music archive in Lyon. A woman named Anna Duval had submitted an old composition. It was called Unspoken. I couldn't breathe. My hands shook so hard I dropped the paper. But I called the number, and when she answered, I knew it was her. We met again, two broken bodies, one shared memory, no words, just a piano and a violin waiting. And tonight, we will play the song we wrote as children, the song we never got to share, the melody that outlived war, time, silence, and sorrow. We're not here to be perfect. Our fingers tremble. Our notes may fall apart, but our hearts remember. And that is enough. Thank you for listening to our last song.
My name is Thomas Elridge. I am 96 years old. I haven't walked in 37 years. They say it was a stroke that took my legs, but the truth is I lost them long before that. I used to dance, not well, but enough to make her laugh. Her name was Lillian. She was everything, bright, fast, full of color. We met in 1951. She heard me play the violin in a smoke-filled bar. I was no one, just a man with a bow and a pocket full of sadness. She came up after the set, looked me in the eyes and said, "Play something that hurt," and I did every night after that. We were married 3 years later. We had a boy, and for a while life felt full, real, loud, but life as it does grew quiet. Lillian got sick, fast, a kind of silence you can't fight. I stopped playing the day she died, packed away the violin and rolled into silence. Our boy moved away, said he couldn't bear the house without her in it. I didn't blame him. I sat in this chair for decades. People thought I couldn't move because of my legs, but it wasn't that. It was the weight of memory. And then, 3 weeks ago, my grandson found my violin. He handed it to me with both hands, said, "Grandpa, I want to hear the song that made her fall in love with you. I hadn't touched it in over 40 years. The strings were brittle, the wood dry, but the moment I held it, she was there. In the air, in the silence, in the ache, I played, and I didn't stop. Tonight, you'll hear it too. Not because I'm trying to remember her, but because I know she's been waiting to hear it one more time. This song is all that's left of the man I used to be."
My name is Edith Salen. I'm 102 years old. And tonight, for the first time in 83 years, I'm going to play the piano again. Not because I want to, because I owe someone a goodbye. I used to play every day. They called me a prodigy. I could play with my eyes closed, like the piano was part of my heartbeat. But after 1942 I stopped. The last time I played was in a locked room with no windows. It was supposed to be a hiding place, but it felt more like a tomb. My husband, David, and I were on the run. We had nowhere to go, so someone hid us in a storage room beneath an old church. There was a piano there, broken keys, out of tune, covered in dust. But it was all we had. For over a year, David asked me to play, said it reminded him of a time before sirens and whispers. So I played, even when we were cold, even when we were hungry, even when silence felt safer. And on the coldest night of that winter, when his hands were too numb to hold mine, he asked me to play something happy. I played Clair de Lune. He died before I reached the final note. When I was rescued, I was no longer a girl, just skin, bones, and grief. I left the piano behind and I swore never to play again. Life moved forward. I remarried. I had children. I lost many. I smiled when I had to, but the room never left me. It came back in dreams, in the quiet, in the cracks of everyday life. And always I could hear David saying, "Just one more song, Edith." So tonight, after 83 years, I sat down at my granddaughter's piano. My fingers, old, fragile, still remembered. And as I played, I wasn't 102 anymore. I was 19, in that hidden room, with the man I loved, with no windows, no escape, no time left. He never got his final song, so tonight he will.